Yes. In the last class, you have seen the different ways of expressing strength of solutions, that is concentrations. Of course, there are mass, percentage of mass by mass, percentage of volume by volume, percentage of mass by volume, molarity, parts per million, etc. Now we shall see another mode of expressing strength of solution, that is mole fraction. This mole fraction is denoted by the letter chi. It is not x, it is termed as chi. Chi stands for mole fraction. Mole fraction of a constituent, you just consider a solution is made up of two components A and B, of which one will be the solute, another solvent. Consider A is solute, B is solvent. Mole fraction state the fraction of one component present in the given solution out of total number of composition. See, from mole fraction of A, mole fraction of the constituent of solution A, it is denoted by chi A. Mole fraction of a constituent in a solution or a system is the ratio of number of mole of that constituent to the total number of moles of all the constituents present in the system or solution. So here mole fraction of the constituent A of the solution AB is number of mole of A by number of mole of A plus number of mole of B. We know number of mole is denoted by the letter N. Now we can write this one as Na by Na plus Nb. So it is the ratio of number of moles of the given constituent of the solution to the total number of moles of all the constituents of the solution. We know that number of mole is equal to mass by molar mass. Here consider W is the mass, M molar mass. Now we can write this expression as chi A is equal to WA by MA by WA by MA plus WB by MP. We can also write mole fraction of the constituent A in this form also. That is in terms of mass of the constituent and its molar mass. Similarly, mole fraction of the constituent B of the constituent or component B, it is chi B, which is equal to NB by Na plus Nb. Okay. Now, if a solution is made up of n number of constituents, say n 1, 2, 3, 4 up to n. Then mole fraction of a constituent, that is chi 1 is equal to n1 by 1, 2, 3 or sigma n up to n. Or you can say 1, 2, 3, n1, n2, n3 up to nn, like that. Now, you just consider your solution is very dilute. You know dilute solution. Dilute solution is one in which amount of solute present is very small compared to amount of solvent. So, amount of solute is very less compared to the solvent in case of dilute solution. So, in case of dilute solution, you just consider here in this case A is the solute, B is the solvent. A is solute, B is solvent. So, mole fraction of the solute A can be written as Na by Na plus Nb, or chi A is equal to Wa Ma, Wa by Ma whole over Wa by Ma plus Wb by Mb. Here Wa and Wb are nothing but masses of solute and solvent in the solution. Ma and Mb are their molar masses. In case of dilute solution, amount of solute is very small, okay, compared to the solvent. That means mass of solute is very less. So, here Wa by Ma value is too smaller than Wb by Mb. For example, if you dissolve 1 gram of sodium chloride in 1000 or 1 liter of water or solution, 1 liter of solution. Okay? Consider a solution is prepared by dissolving 1 gram of sodium chloride in 1 liter solution. Now, let us see the number of moles of sodium chloride and water in the solution. Number of mole of sodium chloride, that is Wa, is Na is equal to mass 1 gram, molar mass of sodium chloride, sodium atomic mass is 23 and that of chlorine atomic mass is 35.5. Altogether it is 58.5. 58.5. See, this is number of moles of sodium chloride in solution, that is N of NaCl. Similarly, calculate N of number of mole of water. Okay. Here, mass of water, 1 liter solution means there may be 1 liter water. If you consider density of water is 1, if you assume actually at 25 degrees Celsius it is 0.9987 gram per liter. So, density of water you can assume at 1, then mass of water can be taken as its volume. So, 1 liter solution, 1 liter water means 1 kg water. 1 kg water in terms of gram, 1000 gram. So, mass of water is 1000 divided by its molar mass 18. See here in this expression, okay, number of mole of solute in case of dilute solution, keep it in mind, case of very dilute solution, number of mole of solute is too smaller than that of number of moles of solvent. See here, number of mole of solute A is 1 by 58.5, that of solvent it is 1000 upon 18. Okay. This figure is quite larger than this one. So, for dilute solution we can neglect this ratio, that is number of mole of solute in the denominator but not in the numerator. In dilute solution, the number of mole of solute is 2 smaller than number of moles of solvent. So this term can be neglected. Then the equation will be the mole fraction of the solute in the dilute solution is simply equal to number of moles of solute divided by number of moles of solvent. Very often we used to consider this expression, particularly in case of dilute solutions. So this is about mole fraction. Next, another important thing is the sum of mole fractions of all the constituents or components of a solution is simply equal to 1. See, mole fraction of constituent A plus mole fraction of constituent B is equal to 1. The sum of mole fractions of all the constituents of a solution is simply equal to 1. Okay. If you know the mole fraction of a solute in a binary solution, if you know the mole fraction of solute, then you can easily get the mole fraction of solvent. That is, mole fraction of solvent will be equal to 1 minus mole fraction of solute. This is about mole fraction as well as concentration terms are given. Next bit is effect of temperature on the concentration of solution. So you know different ways of expressing strength of solution. One is percentage mass by mass. Percentage mass. Second one, percentage volume by volume. Next one is percentage mass by volume of a constituent of solution or component of solution. Next one is part per million. Next one, molarity of solution. Next, molality of solution. Next one, mole fraction. Now let us see the effect of temperature, change of temperature on this thing, that is on the concentration of solution expressing in these terms. See, on changing the temperature, on rising the temperature, there may be some changes in the system. Normally, volume increases. On rising the temperature, volume of system increases. See, mass of the system does not change. Mass of system will not be changed on rising the temperature. Mass remains constant. Only volume change may take place. Here, in this case, there is no volume term. There is no volume term. See, what is percentage mass ratio? That is the mass of given component divided by total mass of system, that is solution, that is mass of solvent plus mass of solute. So in this case, only mass term present, no volume. Therefore, this has no effect, no temperature change effect. On changing the temperature, concentration and percentage composition by mass does not change. Here, in this case, volume by volume. Here also, see here, the numerator there is volume term, in the denominator volume term. Numerator volume, that is volume of the solute or given component. Here volume of solution. Okay. Here also change cancels, no effect. You can say no effect on the concentration, percentage volume composition. Next, here mass term is in the numerator, volume term is in the denominator. Okay. On rising the temperature, volume increases, but mass remains same. So, here volume term is in the denominator. You can say change occurs here on changing the temperature, concentration also changes. But on rising the temperature, volume increases, therefore percentage composition, percentage mass by volume composition changes, that means decreases. Percentage composition decreases. Next, part per million. Part per million consists of only the mass term, no volume term. Therefore, no effect, no change occurs. Okay, if you express in terms of volume, there are. Next, molarity. Molarity means it is number of mole of solute by volume of solution in liter. Number of mole of solute divided by volume of solution in liter. So here it contains volume term. So on rising the temperature or on changing the temperature, molarity of solution will also change. Okay. On rising the temperature, molarity decreases because of increase of volume, which is in the denominator of this expression. Okay. So here you can say change occurs. That means on rising the temperature, concentration, that is molarity, decreases. Here molality is once again number of mole of solute by total mass of the solution. Total mass of the solution. Number of mole once again contains only the mass term. Number of mole is equal to mass of substance divided by its molar mass. So change of, here there is no volume term, therefore no change. On change of temperature, molality of solution does not change. Okay. Then mole fraction. Once again, mole fraction is the ratio of number of mole of particular component to the total number of moles. Number of mole consists of only the mass terms, no volume term. Therefore, here also no change on changing the temperature. So straight away you can say change of temperature will bring change in concentration only in case of concentration term involving volume term. Volume ಇರೋದ್ರೊಳಗೆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಆನ್ ಚೇಂಜಿಂಗ್ ದ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್. ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋದ್ರೊಳಗೆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಆನ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ ಆಫ್ ಆರ್ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ bit is solubility. See, you know, during the formation of solution is a homogeneous mixture of two or more than two components. Solute, one will be solute, another one will be solvent. Or you can say solutions are homogeneous mixtures of solvent and solute. Okay. So during the formation of solution, solute dissolve in the solvent to form a homogeneous system. That means solute actually dissolve, soluble in the solution, in the solvent. Now, what is solubility? Solubility means it is the maximum amount of solute, which can dissolve completely in a given amount of solvent at given conditions of temperature, pressure, etc., etc. So, solubility can be defined as it is the maximum amount of solute that can dissolve in given amount of solvent at given conditions, at constant temperature, pressure, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Now, let us see the factors which influence on the solubility. Factors which affect on the solubility. See, important factors which influence on the solubility of solute in given solvent are nature of solute. First one, nature of solute. The solubility depends upon the solute itself, nature of the solute. Next, nature of solvent. Solubility depends upon nature of solvent. Next factor is temperature. Another one is pressure. These four factors are important which influence on the solubility of solute in given solvent during the formation of solution. Now, let us see these factors influence on the solubility of a solid in liquid. Solubility of solid in liquid. So, I am going to consider solid liquid solution. State of solution is liquid because solvent is liquid. Okay. Solid in liquid solution. You can give number of examples for this. Sodium chloride in water, urea in water, potassium chloride in water, sucrose in water, glucose in water, so on and so forth. Now, let us see the influence of temperature, pressure, nature of solute, nature of solvent on the solubility of solid in the given liquid. Okay. First, let us consider nature of solute and solvent. In fact, solubility of solute, solid solute in given liquid solvent depends upon nature of solute and also the nature of solvent. See, one important thing is there. You just see here, sodium chloride. Sodium chloride dissolve in water. Sodium chloride dissolve in water. Whereas the same sodium chloride does not dissolve in benzene when you use it as solvent. If you use water as a solvent for sodium chloride, no doubt sodium chloride dissolve in it. If you use benzene as a solvent, sodium chloride will not dissolve. That is one important thing. Similarly, just say here, KCl, potassium chloride. it dissolves in liquid ammonia as solvent. Potassium chloride dissolves in liquid ammonia solvent, whereas it does not dissolve in carbon tetrachloride. Carbon tetrachloride. Similarly, naphthalene, if you consider naphthalene, this naphthalene does not dissolve in water, whereas it dissolves in benzene. Naphthalene dissolves in benzene solvent, but not in water solvent. Here, one interesting thing is that sodium chloride, it is an ionic compound, you can say polar compound. Water is a polar solvent. Sodium chloride carrying charge. Water also carrying charges. H plus, OH minus. Sodium chloride carrying charges plus and minus. So it is a polar solute. It is polar solvent. Water has high amount of dipole moment, whereas benzene is a non-polar solvent. Benzene is a non-polar solvent whose dipole moment is 0. So it is non-polar, this one is polar. Here naphthalene is a non-polar substance, does not carry charge in it, whereas water is a polar solvent. Benzene is a non-polar solvent. Here naphthalene readily dissolves in benzene but not in water. Here sodium chloride readily dissolves in water but not in benzene. Now, I hope you have got the answer or reason. Polar solutes dissolve in polar solvents, non-polar solutes dissolve in non-polar solvents. Like dissolve like. Polar dissolves in polar solvent. Non-polar solutes dissolve in non-polar solvents. That is important one. So this is one important character. See, here you just consider this one. Sodium chloride in water dissolve. Sodium chloride dissolve in water. Silver chloride in water, no dissolution. Of course, dissolve only to a very, very small extent, not fairly. Just see, in sodium chloride, we can say sodium carrying positive charge, Cl carrying negative charge, here H carries positive, OH carries negative. Okay, you can write this one as HOH minus. It is ionic, polar solvent. It is polar solute. Polar solute dissolves in polar solvent. You can agree. Here in silver chloride, we can say silver carrying positive charge, chloride ion carrying negative charge. So this is also something like a polar, maybe weak. Polar solute, it is not dissolving in polar solvent. Okay, this is due to the fact all solvents have a power to dissolve the solute. That power is known as dielectric constant. Higher the dielectric constant, higher will be the solubility of solute in it. Okay. See, water has high dielectric constant. That means the dielectric constant is a type of strength of solvent. By virtue of it, it dissolves the solute in it. It breaks the bonds present or the intermolecular forces present in the given solute. Here, the dielectric constant of water, strength of water is sufficient to break the bonds between constituents of the solute. So, the solute breaks in water and dissolves. Here, that strength of water is not sufficient to break this molecule. Here, in addition to ionic, there will be some other type of forces existing, van der Waals force like that. The strength of water is not sufficient to break silver chloride into silver ions and chloride ions completely. Therefore, silver chloride is insoluble in water, though it is a polar one. Now, the solubility of solid in liquid depends upon temperature also. Temperature also plays a significant role on the solubility of solid in liquid. That is, say some solids solutes, while dissolving in liquid solvent, heat is liberated. Say sodium carbonate, Na2CO3 10H2O. It is washing soda, hydrated sodium carbonate, even anhydrous. While dissolving in water, heat is liberated. Here, delta H is negative. While forming the solution of sodium carbonate, even lithium sulfate, heat is liberated. That means dissolution of sodium carbonate, lithium sulfate are exothermic in nature, heat is liberated. In such cases, of course, according to Le Chatelier's principle, the process in which heat is liberated or process which is exothermic in nature, rise in temperature is not favorable for that process. For all exothermic processes, rise in temperature is not a favorable condition. Whereas, for the process or endothermic processes, rise in temperature is a favorable condition. So, in this case, if you rise the temperature, if solubility of solute in liquid, that is solid solute in liquid, is exothermic in nature, then in such case rise in temperature is not favorable. On rising the temperature, solubility decreases because of moving of equilibrium state towards the left side. That means reverse reaction occurs. Now you just say this one, KCl, ammonium chloride or ammonium nitrate, solubility of potassium chloride, ammonium nitrate or chloride in water. Heat is absorbed where delta H is positive. That is, dissolution of ammonium chloride, ammonium nitrate, potassium chloride are endothermic processes. They are endothermic in nature. According to your Le Chatelier's principle, all endothermic processes are favored by rising the temperature. So, on rising the temperature, the solubility of these salts in water increases. So, rise in temperature is favorable condition for this type of salts dissolving. Rise in temperature is not favorable condition for this type of salts dissolving or forming the solution. So, this is about influence of temperature on the solubility of solids, solid solutes in liquid solvent. Pressure has no much influence, change of pressure has no much influence on the solubility of solids in liquid, because solids and liquids have high incompressibility. Therefore, effect of or rise in pressure or change in pressure has no influence on the solubility of solid in liquid. This is about the factors which influence on the solubility of solids in liquid solvents. Okay. Next, we shall see the influence of temperature, pressure, etc., on the solubility of gas in liquid. In the next class, we shall see that. Okay.